I came across a video a few days ago on YouTube. I forget the name of the man that was speaking, but it's I want to say it was a Reformed Baptist pastor from Mississippi. And this video was posted on Vody Bachum's YouTube channel. Vody Bachum is also a Reformed Baptist. Probably the most well-known black Reformed Baptist pastor in America today. Anyway, in this particular video, this man was criticizing Ligon Duncan. Ligon Duncan is the former pastor of First Presbyterian Church in Jackson, Mississippi, and he's retired from that role, but I believe he still has a role at Reformed Theological Seminary. Anyway, recently Ligon Duncan had done an interview discussing race and discussing the Presbyterian Church's history of racism and things like that, and specifically Ligon said that he was acknowledging the pain that a lot of black people, particularly in the South, carry as it relates to past events. And he said at one point, he said, I have black friends that for good reason have a difficult time trusting me. And this person critiquing Ligon Duncan said that, Ligon Duncan has gone, woke, and this is antithetical to the gospel, and if we believe that Christ forgives our sins, then this lingering lack of trust shouldn't be there. And he pointed out that Ligon himself wasn't responsible for the atrocities of the Civil Rights Movement era, and so to not trust him because of that is wrong. And I saw just a real lack of sensitivity on the part of this video, which surprised me because, like I said, this was on Vody Bachum's channel, and so I'm assuming Vody Bachum himself, a black pastor, endorses the messages being sent here. So apparently Vody Bachum himself didn't think this video was insensitive. But as I watched it, I thought it was very insensitive, and I thought what Ligon said was actually spot on. Ligon wasn't denying that forgiveness is real or that the gospel can change things. What he was pinpointing, though, is that there is a distinction between forgiveness and reconciliation and restoration. There can be real forgiveness within the black community towards the white community for the atrocities of the past, but it's understandable, of course, for it to take time to rebuild trust. At one point in the video, Ligon said it would take another 100 years, and the guy in the video just thought it was terrible that he was suggesting it would take that long. I don't think Ligon was suggesting that it should take that long, as if he was moralizing. He was just acknowledging the fact that it, in all likelihood, will take that long, because humans have the capacity to heal, but they don't always heal overnight. So, anyway, to me, to be surprised or offended that there are still wounds that exist, and that black people at times have a difficult time trusting white people, when I hear that, I don't think, oh, that's woke, or that's antithetical to the gospel. I just think, well, of course, we're human. And so the task of white Christians is not to diminish the pain of black Christians or treat them like they're just being oversensitive or that they ought to have gotten over these things by this point. The task is to be empathetic and to think, well, look, the pain that was inflicted on your people lasted for hundreds of years. It lasted through the 1600s and the 1700s and the greater part of the 1800s. And even after slavery ended, terrible discrimination and mistreatment lasted well into the 1900s. And so it's understandable that there are still lingering after effects. A lot of the poverty that exists in the black community today can be directly traced to the lack of opportunities that were afforded black people just a few decades ago. So it's not as if all the effects of generations of injustice have suddenly just, magically disappeared. These effects are still real. And I wholeheartedly agree that we ought to judge people as individuals, not, as we shouldn't stereotype. So it's wrong for a black person to think that a white person buys into a certain belief just because he's known other people that bought into that belief. Or it's wrong for a white person to judge or stereotype black people. We need to know each other on an individual level. But it is totally understandable if there's a knee-jerk, gut level suspicion that exists between people groups that have historically had, the history that black white Americans had. That makes perfect sense. And our task as Christians is to be sympathetic and to be sensitive and to do what we can to rebuild trust and to show ourselves trustworthy, to show ourselves sensitive and kind. And that's what I think the task is for American Christians, is not to downplay the need for that. Yes, forgiveness is absolutely possible through Christ, and restoration is possible through Christ. But restoration takes time, and it takes effort, and it involves showing yourself to be someone that is trustworthy. And that's not an insult to be in a position where you have to show yourself trustworthy. Anyway, those are my 2 cents.